better?
Yeah, it's perfect. Hello, comment il est? Aujourd'hui, je suis avec mon pote Steve Thornton. We just gonna hear a little concert jazz in No Black Tie, Kuala Lumpur. And also I take the occasion just to interview him a little. So it's my pleasure to introduce to you Mr. Steve Thornton. Hello, Steve.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing fine. Good to see you again, Nico.
How long have you been here in Malaysia?
Since 1997, so 20 years.
20 years?
Yeah, actually when I moved here was in May of 1997.
Okay, tell me a little more about who you are, just like, who is Steve?
Steve, you know, I'm from Brooklyn, New York. And when I was about 8 years old, I heard Mongo Santa Maria. Mongo Santa Maria is a conga player from Cuba. And I heard a song called Watermelon Man, which was very popular in America and at that time, in jazz radio, even R&B radio, they played that song. Anyway, my brother brought an album of Mongo Santa Maria live at the Village Gate. And if you ever see that album, Mongo live at the Village Gate, you see Mongo sitting, playing the two congas with his hand like that and a beautiful smile. And this African man inspired me to want to be like him. And actually, first time I got to meet him was like, maybe it was about 17 or 18. I was coming from high school, from junior high school actually, and I read that he was performing in a place in Harlem. I read it in the newspaper. So I asked my brother to take me to the club because I know if I go by myself, they won't let me in. Number one, they wouldn't believe my age because I was maybe same height. So anyway, I had a problem to get into clubs to see Mongo. But that particular night, I got in to see Mongo, and he even let me come up and play with him on his stage.
Really?
Yeah. And I mean, that was such a big inspiration for me. Because here this man was, you know, that I saw many years ago, and he was such a nice man. And he actually inspired me and let me even play right next to him to show him what I've learned from listening to his records. So I mean, there's a lot of experiences with Mongo Santa Maria, including the fact that I'm living here in Malaysia, because I remember before I wanted to move to Malaysia, I asked Mongo, because, you know, 3 years after I performed with Mongo Santa Maria, I performed with Miles Davis, I performed with Herbie Hancock, who wrote the song Watermelon Man, and David Sanborn, and Tracy Chapman, and Tanya Maria, and so many artists, including Michael Jackson and Mariah Carey, you know, recording with these people. But that all happened in New York, you know. So when 97, you know, I went to Mongo and I said, Mongo, my wife wants to come back to Malaysia. You know, and I said, Mongo, I think I want to leave, go with her. Mongo was like, that's the good decision. You shouldn't do that. Because there's nothing, no matter what you do in your career, there's nothing like having a family. And if you choose your career over family, you might not be happy for the rest of your life. You know? So he said, choose family and music and do it in Malaysia, because you can do it anywhere in the world. You don't have to stay in New York to play music and to enjoy your career. And he was very right. You know, because now in Malaysia I have many students who follow me, and I perform a lot, including with the international artists like Michael Bolton just this past weekend. You know, so, you know, I'm fortunate actually to be in Malaysia and also meet people like you. You know, the coincidence we had meeting each other.
Yeah, that was quite a crazy story.
And then be able to play music together. And when I met you, it was with one of my students in Kuching. Was performing with Sheila Majid, one of the most popular singers here in Malaysia. You know, it was just a coincidence with how we met. And right away, I can feel that we wanted to play music together. And we managed to make it happen. and hopefully we'll do it again soon. Hey, look who's here.
This is a big time in the world. How you doing, good people? Did I hug you while you got the camera in your hand? What you doing? What's up, man?
How you doing,
I'm all right, brother.
You know what? I was just at Matrix. I mean, Maverick. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I
Supporting it?
heard the stuff that you've been working on, man.
Yeah. You like the vibe?
Very much.
Hey, man, we gotta get you on it now. What's up?
Yeah. Me and Paul was talking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when we can arrange, when he can arrange sometime, I'll get all my percussion, put it in the studio.
We gotta do it.
We can do it.
Ça, c'est la chose la plus importante au parc. Voilà. Tu vas rencontrer en fait des gens de partout et tous collisionnent. En fait, il y a des collisions de partout d'artistes. Jupiter. Donc vous avez vu la première vidéo, l'une des premières vidéos de son nom, Steve Thornton. Et là, on va les regarder derrière. Il y a un concert avec un super flûtiste, un super batteur. Et voilà, donc il y a énormément de choses qui se passent ici.
You know, she's also thinks about her studies.
Yeah, of course.
You know, and you know, she's at exam this week, so she's studying every night. Very focused on her studies. But I would really like her to be make a decision to do music.
Yeah.
You know, 24 hours a day. You know.
It's probably coming for sure.
But you know, she's only 16.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you know, she can't, you want to do that, but you don't want her to fail in school, though. You don't want to come back and be like, Daddy.
You know what? I want her to do it because I think she won't fail in music.
Of course not. No,
You know what I mean? If you do something in life that you love, you won't fail in life.
Never. That's real.
You know?
That's
I want her to not fail in life.
That's real.
You know what I mean?
I definitely know. I left school when I was 17. I moved to Thailand for music, and I haven't failed yet. That's what it is.
That's really what I want.
Yeah, man.
You know, because we don't know how long life is.
We don't know.
You know, but you have to do what you like doing in life. You know what I mean?
Man, that's a good shot, too. Yeah.
But we got to speak a little louder because the music is getting crazy.
Yeah, it's a bit louder now, right?
Yeah. So we were feeling just like, okay, we got a little about why percussion? Why did you choose percussion? Why was it percussion and not flute and not
You
piano?
know what? I did try flute at one time, and also bass. You know, I studied bass when I was in high school. I used to play in the string orchestra in high school. So I played upright bass with the bow, with the violins and cellos and everything, so I can learn how to read music. That was my aim, actually, to learn to read music. And I have to take history and mathematics and all that other stuff. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to at least have some music study in my life. But you know, of course, the most natural thing for me was playing percussion, you know, playing conga. So I used to be more into just conga and bongo. That was my main instrument, especially when I was playing with the salsa group, because that's all you play is conga for the whole night.
And how did it come to start playing with Miles?
Through the recording session, that's how I get to meet with Miles, through that recording session. And then they asked me to join the band. It was a great experience. Until this day, people still ask me, how was it working with Miles? And, you know, he died like, more than 20 years ago, maybe 25 years ago, 24 years ago. You know, 1991. You know?
And you didn't even realize you're sitting just under Miles.
Yeah, Miles is right there looking over. He's looking at you as you talk about it. He's like, that's right, Steve.
Yeah, 4 years I worked with him. So much I learned.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just from
He's a great teacher.
of life as well, I can see.
Yeah.
His confidence is like,
Yes. You know, another thing about Miles that was amazing. We used to record almost every show. I think in 4 years, maybe missed 4 shows. Every time we performed, he recorded. And every time we, it was recorded, he would let the musicians listen to it so that we can be inspired by what we played that night. So that the next night we can play it better. You know, this is what he was always looking for. You know, and I remember one time doing a recording rehearsal. We were rehearsing for the album, in fact. And John Schofield, the guitarist, brought in a song that he wrote, you know, and we were playing the song. And Miles was recording, you know, while we were rehearsing. And you know, John wrote the song, you know, but as he was reading the chart, reading his music, he made a mistake. You know, so we played the song again, and he corrected the mistake. And Miles said, "That's not what you played before." You know, and he said, "No, it goes like this. This is the part. You know, this part here. You mean this part here?" Show Miles the chart.
Yeah.
Miles said, "I don't care what the fact that it's not you what you played." And then he told he you know argued a bit with Schofield for a few minutes. And then he told our road manager, "Play the tape back."
I got the tape.
Yeah, when he played that tape back, oh, I made a mistake there.
Yeah,
That's what John said. Miles heard that mistake, man, and he wanted that to be a part of the song.
He wanted the mistake.
Yes, he wanted that to be a part of the song.
Yeah, that's real. Because, you know, there's no
Make the
mistake.
wrong not sound right.
Yeah,
that's
you know,
real.
he heard what we didn't hear. That's for sure.
Yeah, you could see it too. From the videos I used to watch of Miles, you can see he's hearing something else, man, because he's just he's so in it, man.
And you know what? You know, when he used to walk around the stage when I played with him and turn his back, and you know, it wasn't turning his back, but like we having a conversation now.
Yeah.
That's the way he played music with the musicians. He would look at you and he would come over to you and play something and expect you to react to it at the moment. All the time on stage. And then people used to interview him and say, "How come you turn your back to the audience?" They thought he was disrespecting the audience. You know, they always got that wrong, you know. He was having a conversation with his musicians. And, you know, he had to have an interview and explain it, you know.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, Miles.
He wasn't like he wasn't disrespecting anybody.
Yeah, no,
He wanted to get the most out of that stage and those musicians that were on stage with him. No matter how he had to do it, you know what I mean?
So he was pushing people.
Yeah, and yes, exactly. Sometimes he would grab the guitarist or the saxophone player and move them out in front, including me. He would take my conga and tell Jim, the road manager, "Take Steve's conga and put it in front of the stage."
Let him feel the energy and
And then tell me to come up in front and play my solo.
everybody got to shine. Everybody got a piece to let out for sure.
You know, after that, when I came to Malaysia, you know, I started playing djembe actually, and putting the djembe on my belt so I can walk around and play on stage. And you know, I mean, that was a big thing for me, being able to move around the stage with the djembe connected to me like the Africans do, you know. Music means life. You know, because if I say it in one word, it's life. Number one, as a musician, you find an instrument or a voice, you know, that you want to communicate with. And you can communicate anywhere in the world. Like if you came from, even if you went to another galaxy or another planet, you can, you know.
That's right. That's real. Jupiter is a good planet as well.
You know, you can be able to express yourself to whoever you meet with your art, with your music, you know. Doesn't matter whether your language is Portuguese or Malaysian or Japanese or Chinese, don't matter. Because through music you can communicate. You know, you can share, you know, something in common with each other. Doesn't matter where you come from. You
What
know?
advice could you give to someone who want to try?
Make sure that you're passionate about it. That's the most important thing. You do it for passion. You don't do it as a gig. You don't do it for being famous. You don't do it for anything else but satisfaction of enjoyment of what you're doing. You know? You have to enjoy it, number one. Because if you don't enjoy it, it won't last.
Wow.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks a lot, brother.
That just gave me so much inspiration just now. And I, you know, wow. I
Now
feel
we
like-
got to go to listen.
Yeah,
This
we
is
gotta.
beautiful music.
I'm ready to
over
play now. I'm ready to enjoy. that was beautiful. That was too much. That was like, oh man, that hit me right in my heart. Straight up.
You know, hey,
You got lovely life, brother.
when you came from Compton, did you know, when you were growing up there, when you were living there, did you know you would be here in Malaysia and doing what you're doing right now?
I had no clue, and that's the beautiful thing. It's like
music will send you in places that you would never know, and it'll introduce you to people that you would never think.
Like Nico, like we met, you know.
Nico is the most amazing guy. He loves that. Like, it's just real though. It's amazing.
You know, amazing things happen for him in life. Just traveling with his flute.
Just the flute.
Just playing music. Amazing things happen to him
It's like
that, you know, nobody else can understand.
You can't understand. It's like it's electricity. It's amazing. It's like it'll plug you into anywhere at any time. The music will plug you in with anywhere at any time with anybody. Like it connects. It's serious, man. It's actually a very serious tool in the world.
Great collaborations, playing with musicians that you have played here. You would never have the chance,
Man,
if you didn't leave.
I would have never got to play with you. And it's like, and this is one of the greatest
I
pleasures.
look
Straight
forward to
up.
playing with you
Hey
soon.
man, we gotta do some more. For sure. We got to. Let's see who's inside, and it always happens. Like always end up meeting Nico, and something amazing every time. It's a beautiful thing, man.
I come when
Thank you, Nico. Thank you for the interview.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you.
Once again, I had an interview before, so check mine out. Jupiter 7. Heaven, you know what it is. Straight up.
You can see what I got in my hand better than I can. and it was raining like crazy, you know? And you had your flute, and I think I don't know what I had.
Was
I
in
had the
Borneo.
dashboard.
was in Borneo.
Yeah.
We met in a car in Sarawak. It was raining. My bike was totally flat, so I was pushing my bike under the dark to go to the stage to see him. And
Yeah.
then my housemate came and just fetched me by, and Steve was here. That's
That's right. That's how we met. And then I don't know if I had an instrument. I think all I had was my hands. I didn't have any drum with me that time. But you had your flute.
yeah,
And we still was able to make a lot of rhythm happening there.
of course.
We made some good music in the car that day.
There's something special about just also Steve is always playing with young musician.
You know why? Because I want to be young too. I want to stay young. You know what I mean? No, but no. Actually, there are a lot of great old musicians here. But you know, like John. Look at the energy that boy has, and Jupiter. You know these guys.
yeah.
You know. Now another thing too about being around young musicians, I guess like can inspire them as well. Like all my students, I have a lot of students, young students, and I really love being able to inspire them. I wonder what's happening here with this traffic, man. Don't tell me I cannot make a turn here. If I can't turn here, this is really a mess.